हाय फ्रेंड्स। हाउ आर यू टुडे? आप लोग कैसे हैं? सो जैसा कि जानते हैं कि मेरा नाम निर्मल शंकर है। माय चैनल है निर्मल टेक्निकल। आज मैं अपना सेशन काफ़ी दिनों के बाद लेके आया हूँ। ये अप्रोक्स 1 मंथ हो गया है। कुछ रीजन था इस वजह से। तो आज को जो सेशन है अपना क्यूबरनेटीज पे ही है। और क्यूबरनेटीज में जो अपना सेशन है ये नेटवर्किंग पे है। सो फर्स्ट आई विल टॉक अबाउट सम term upon Kubernetes networking. Then I will show you that lab. So simply, if we talk about networking, so networking word is very important in everywhere. Simply, if we talk about in that sales department, so networking very important term, that how is your networking, like how people's are connected with you, that person, how is your networking. If we talk about in telecom technology, so also there is a very important term networking, like uh, connecting the nodes. Might be a node belongs to that core node, RAN node. Somehow I'm just telling you like networking term. Okay, so in networking, now we are talking in Kubernetes. So in Kubernetes pod where a container is created. Okay, so in Kubernetes, if we talk about networking, so it means I am going to tell you that we are talking about connecting to the containers to each other. That is the simple what I am going to telling you. How container to connect each other, how container to communicate. Even though I told you in previous session that container does not communicate to each other because of that IP is assigned to always pod, not to container. Of course this is the true, but yes, container also can communicate to each other some process using the process. So same thing I will share with you. So before going on lab, I will share with you uh, some diagram. So it will be easier to get understand about networking in Kubernetes. Let's say we have a node. Okay, so you can see this is a node. So here in talking about node, so yes, and one more thing, I will also this lab also I will share with you on cloud cloud network, like Amazon EC2 instance. Okay, so I will also share this lab on cloud server, Amazon EC2 instance, Ubuntu. So before going on lab, I will share with you some picture which it be clear. It will be good for you to get understanding about networking in Kubernetes. So let's say we have a node Minikube. Okay, this is the node. So I will share you two uh, two scenario. First scenario where I will show you a container, a pod which is having a two container inside the pod to communicate to each other. And second scenario I will share with you a pod in uh, a pod which is having single container, another pod which is having a single container, you will share with you that two container but different port, how to contact, how to the containers communicate each other. But remember, node will be common. Meanwhile, node is common for all that because there is a cluster setup on Minikube. So node is common. So first scenario will be there is a one pod, inside that pod there are two containers. Okay, this is the which is that one. You can see this is the node Minikube. Okay, and this is the pod. This is the pod inside a node. And that pod, the pod name is test pod. You can see the pod name is test pod, having a two containers. First container is C00 and second container is C01. So this is the first scenario. Again I'm telling you, this is the first scenario. Inside a node I will share with you a pod which is having a two container. That first container is C00 and second container is C01. Then how do these containers communicate to each other? So let me for this first scenario, let me take example. Let's suppose might be I'm just giving example. So it is for like to get understand to correlate with, but not exactly. So just taking a reference, friends. Let's say we are two friends and living in a room. Okay. So when we require to communicate to each other, when we both friends are in a room available, so we don't need any electronic wallet device, mobile something to talk each other. Because we are in front of each other, we can communicate normally. We don't record any like a mobile cell, wireless cell to talk each other because we are in living in a single room. We are on inside a room on same location. Okay, so we can communicate to each other locally. We don't require any like mobile. Okay, so similarly in this test pod, we can see that both containers C00 and C01 are in a same pod. So for these containers to stabilize a communication network, it can these containers can be communicate to local host because it doesn't record any IP something. So this is our first scenario. How do both containers to communicate each other inside a pod? Okay, so these both containers will communicate to each other using local host. Hopefully picture is clear. So I will share with you our first scenario on lab. Let's start. So this is our manifest file for first scenario, kind is pod API version v1. Because I have shared you previous sessions, so hopefully it is not tough for you because you know guys, this is the manifest file for first scenario. So kind is pod API version v1, metadata and name is test pod. That's why I shared with you name pod name is test pod. Okay, and specification containers name C00. So for container C00 I will use image Ubuntu, and that command is binbash. You know that in Ubuntu operating system I use to command binbash. Okay, this is the C, so it is for container. While true, then to echo India. This is the just a command I described here. And second container you can see here, it start from second container C01 image is HTTPD. So guys, we know that HTTPD is Apache server. Okay, ports. So what I will do, I will expose a port 80 of container C01. Okay, what I told you, that these containers will talk to each other, the local host. So what I will do, I will access this container C00, which will be run on Ubuntu image, and I will ping to this container C01 localhost, which will be working on Apache. I am that saying working will, that means till now I have not created. So I will do, so I will access this container, and from this container terminal I will ping localhost dash colon 80. So I will access Apache. I will from this container access to Apache server, which will be run on this container C01. And you know guys, if Apache server is running, so the output should be it works. So that means containers are communicating to each other. Okay. So moving on lab. So and second container C01, which is working on, which will run on HTTPD Apache server, and port I have exposed port 80. Port 80. Okay. So let me do our first scenario, and moving on lab. So friends, actually I have already launched our EC2 instance using Ubuntu, and Minikube is already working because it takes some time, so I have already done till now. Minikube is working. Okay, so you can see kubectl get node. So Minikube status is ready, control plane version is v1 dash dot 26.1 kubectl get pods. So you can see guys, no pod is still now created in that machine in Minikube cluster, Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so I will do first scenario. Mhm. If I can also change the color. Yes, so control L. So I will do first, I will create a pod for first scenario, where I will create a single pod in using the two containers inside a single pod. Okay, so you can see also on that is on, there is no file till now except this one minikube dash linux dash emt64. So vi pod dot yml, press I on your system. Now I will do copy this manifest file. I have already explained what I am going to run on this. So kind is pod, object is pod, and where I am going to create a test pod name, and inside that test pod going I will create a two container C00 and C01. First container will run on Ubuntu image, second container will run HTTPD Apache server. Okay, copy and paste, escape then WQ, enter. Okay, so let me apply these changes on that YAML file. Cube ctl apply -f pod.yml. You can see pod test pod name is created. So cube ctl get pods. You can see that test pod is created and two containers are running state. So 2 by 2 means there are two containers in which both containers running successfully. So kubectl get ports -o wide. So you can see that IP which is assigned to pod is 10.244.0.8. This is the IP which is assigned to pod, okay, not to containers. Remember, node is Minikube. Okay, so what I told you, I will access that container C0 which is running on Ubuntu image. So guys, you remember or not? Okay, so how do I access container? If you remember guys, so cube ctl execute interactive mode, kubectl execute, then pod name, so test pod, what is the name, test pod. Okay, I have written that command also, interactive mode, then test pod, pod name, then -c, and that means it is for container, and container C00, that is the first container, which is our first container is C0. Okay, dash dash slash bin and slash bash. So you can see I have entered and test port container C0. So as I told you that I will ping from this container C002 C01 localhost. But there is some process. What I will do, I will first update this container apt update -y. -y, that means it is for yes, because sometime while I fire the command in Linux terminal, so it requires somehow a yes. So either you have to push yes yes yes, otherwise if you mention that -y, it will automatically take as a y, a yes. That's why I have mentioned here -y. Okay, so let me install curl. Control L, so it is clear now. Okay, so as I told you that you can see I have exposed the port 80 for container C01 which is running on HTTPD, that means Apache server. So what I will do, uh, curl, you can see I am access to container C0 which is running on Ubuntu image, but I will ping to localhost colon 80 comma. Okay, so local host colon 80, you can see it works. That means we are able to access well from container C00 to C01 because it is Apache server which is running on C001, not C00. So we are able to ping from C00 because Apache server is running on C01, not C00. But I am able to ping what I said in our picture explained I have access to this container. Now I am able to ping from this container to that container C001 which is running on HTTPD server. Hopefully you have got understand that first scenario. Okay, so when I ping curl localhost colon 80, it is showing it works. Now exit. So our first scenario is complete. Now I will share with you second scenario. One more thing. kubectl. Because our first scenario is complete, so I will delete this test pod. This is not our part. If you want to continue this pod, no issue, but I will delete this. kubectl delete test pod. Resource type. Okay. It's my mistake because I didn't mention that pod because the command is kubectl delete then pod and pod name. It takes some time to delete pod. Somehow, guys, there are two containers running a single pod, so might be that it's taking some time. This is the might be a reason. Until this pod is in progress for deletion, I will share with you second scenario. So friends, you have get understand about first scenario that how two containers to communicate to each other using localhost inside a pod, inside a same pod. Okay, let me clear this. Now friend, I will share with you that a node is common but pod is different, and how two containers which is inside us different pod, the communication, how do we stabilize a communication between two containers which is running on a different pods but on a same node. So this is our node. Let me take a very big size. This is our node. Okay, this is node. So if we talk about also node minicube, that is this is the I am talking this one. Guys, you are getting this is the node minicube cluster setup. Okay. Now what I will do? This is the pod. Okay. So you can see this is our first scenario and this is our second scenario. So here I have taken first pod test pod 1. This scenario is completed. Okay, so don't get it confused this one. So forget this one right now. Now we are going to start from here for second scenario. So first I will create this one container. So I will mention that pod name is test pod 1. So let me to copy this. Just I am going to explain. So the node is common, node is Minikube. So this is our first pod, test pod 1, and inside this test pod I will create a container. What is the container name is C00, so that it should be also just making understanding. It is not required, but I can also mention. Mhm. It is C02 and image is Nginx. Nginx. Okay. I am going to open port 80 container. Okay. So this is the node which is Minikube, and under Minikube we will create a test pod 1, that is our first pod, and inside this pod we will create a container which is having name C02, image Nginx, and I will expose a port 80 in that container. Now I will take a second pod. So this is our, my art is not very good. So our main agenda is to get understanding. So line might be zigzag. My art is not, my art is very poor. So this is our second pod, and second pod, what is the second pod name is test pod 2. Okay, so this is our second pod, test pod 2, and now and inside this pod the container is C03. Image is HTTPD Apache server. I will explore the port number 80. Yes, image is HTTPD Apache server and container port is 80. So guys, I will stabilize a communication between both containers, but both containers are running on different port. This container is running on test port 1, and this container is running on test port 2. But remember, these ports are on a common node Minikube. Okay, but port is different. Test port 1 and test port 2. So I will stabilize a connection communication between these two containers. So for and to get understanding for this scenario, let me take an again example. I am again telling you, I am trying to correlate this. Might be it's not exact example, but yes, it is for taking a reference to get understanding wow how this is a possible, how the containers to communicate to each other. Okay, so let's take example like we are two friends, but we are living different societies. Okay, so and we want to talk to each other. So here in this scenario, we can communicate to using a mobile device. one friend is having a one mobile device, another friend is having a mobile device. Okay, then it is possible to connection. There can be stabilized communication between two person, and that in mobile device, each and every person that having a mobile number. So I have any mobile number, let's say my friend, and which is living in another society, and but we want to talk to each other. So I have a mobile number. So this is the my unique identity in terms of it mobile. So here in that Kubernetes, it's a mobile number. That means in networking, in Kubernetes, so it this pod, guys, I already told you when we will create a pod, when we create a pod, a unique IP is assigned to pod. So this pod is having a unique IP and this pod is having a unique IP. So in that scenario, both containers will stabilize a connection using a IP because these are not on the local host. So I just shared example like mobile numbers. So this person in term of mobile number that means IP. This there will be a unique IP of this pod and there will be unique IP of this pod. So both containers will communicate using that each other IP. So I will share with you how it is possible. So first let me show you why it is happened here. It might be that this one triggered a problem this session and this server which was opened and this putty might be the problem came. So I will close this one and I will continue this one. Okay, Control L. So I can see that which I have deleted pod earlier, now it is not available in our machine. Cube ctl get node. So node is okay. Kubectl get pods. So मेरा भी तबीयत थोड़ा सा दिक्कत है. So uh, now I will say I'm going to share with you second scenario. So I have explained already. So now going on the going on create a manifest file for second scenario. So I will create a two manifest file. First file for this because I have to create two port and second for this port. Okay. So ls. So if I want, I can also delete this ml file. How? Rm, you know that in Linux terminal, rm that file name pod.yaml. It will be deleted. Now you can see now file is already deleted. So Control L make this clear session. So friends, vi that pod one dot ml yml. Okay, press I and copy this and paste. Okay, wq Let me apply the changes on that manifest file. Kubectl apply -f pod1.yml. You can see our test pod1 is created. So you want to see kubectl get pods -o void. Now you can see this IP is assigned to this pod test pod1, and one container which is created is it is running state. So let me copy this IP. You know, in Linux don't need to copy, just select, it will be automatically copied. And let me paste here. Is it for test pod 1? Okay. kubectl describe pod and test pod 1. If you want to see, you can also see the what happened while I created this pod. So first default scheduler assign this test pod to one minikube, then image nginx image pulled, then created container C002. Okay, so let me access this container. So cube, same command, kubectl exe interactive mode, then test pod name. So what is the pod name? Test pod 1, because I have created this pod. So test pod 1, then -c, it is for container, and that container name, so C02 /bin/bash. So again I have to update this one, apt update -y control L apt install curl -y. Okay. Friend, so well, when I have successfully created both containers, means both pod, you can say both container. So I will show you, I will access this container test pod 1, and I will ping from this container to this container IP. So let's say if I will access this container which is running on nginx, but I will ping to this container IP, so it should show it works. So that means this container is connected to this one, because this container is working on HTTPD Apache server, and I earlier told you that if Apache server is running on that any container, so when you access this container and you ping that means you trying to connect that container, you will connect to container, so its output should be it works. So then it then it is like that containers are communicating to each other. And also I will share with you, not from one side. Also, when I will access this container and I will ping, I will connect from this container to this container. So imagine what output come. So when I will connect from this container to this container, connect, that means I will access this container and I will put that IP and port 80. So output should be come on nginx, not httpd, because from here I will connect to this container. Okay, let me show you on lab, so it will be more understanding, it will be more clear for you. For now I can show you. If you ping curl, but it is just I'm telling you, if you ping to dot our already in that container, so curl localhost 80, so you can see welcome to nginx. But our agenda is not like exactly this, because our agenda is I will ping from different content, from one container to different container. I am just telling you that when I ping from HTTPD container to Nginx container, so output should become like this. This is the reason what I am share with you this. Okay, so now going to execute. Control L, kubectl get ports. So okay, now I will create this container which will be work on HTTPD. As I told you that in second scenario, I will create a two pod having a one container. You can say I will create a two container having a different pod. So one pod is successfully created, which is now is test pod 1 is, and container name is C02, which is running on Nginx image. Okay. Now I will create a pod test pod 2, which will be working on HTTPD Apache server. So again, I have to create another manifest file. So let me show which file is okay. Port 1. So I will take that port 2. Vi port 2 dot yml. Okay. Press high on the system. Then I will copy this one. Paste. Okay. WQ. So pod is object is pod API version v1 and name is test port 2. Name is test port 2. Specification containers name. That is the pod name and that is the container name. And container name is C03 image, so which is HTTPD, that means Apache server, and port is 80. So let me do apply the changes on that ML file also. Cube. And one more thing guys, for the similar type of command, don't need to again type. If you want, you can press an up and down arrow on your system like this and just change that name here, port2.ml. You can see that test port 2 is created successfully. Okay. So again like this, kubectl get ports. You can see test port is which is also successfully created in with one container which is on running. Okay. So this is our test port 2, that IP is assigned 10.244.0.10. Copy this IP. Reason behind that why I am doing copying these IPs, I will not tell you. It will get understand yourself as well, because that means I am copying these IPs. The reason behind that, I will ping from one container to another container using these IPs. This is the reason. Okay. So it is a test port 2. It is a test port 2. So again, I have to access this container. So just name, what is the name here? Test port 2. That container is inside this. And guys, one more thing. Let me do show you. Let me, if you want to see that what I have written it YAML file. Okay, so ls pod1.ml, because I have just written in that pod2 YAML file. So vi that, you know that I have to open that pod2.yml, but I will not execute this command because this is the editing on Linux terminal. So how I can open this file without written anything? So you can use cat pod2.yml. You can see kind is pod means object is pod API version v1, then name test port to container C003 and HTTP. So it don't require like if you want to edit something, then you have to open in that way vi. If you want if you just want to see how like what I have written that content in that YAML file, just use the cat command, not record v1. Okay. So press Ctrl L. So cube ctl get okay nodes. Okay, so I have uh, ports hyphen o wide. So now I have to access this test port to container. Okay, so command is cube ctl execute interactive mode, then pod name, so pod 2 test pod 2. Okay, hyphen c, that means container. And what container is running on test port 2? So you can see test port 2 c03 c03 hyphen slash bin bash. Yes, now you are on Apache server. You can see that it is Apache 2. First me update this container update hyphen y, then install curl. Okay, so curl local host dot 80. You can see it is showing it works. But our second scenario was I will ping to one container to another container IP. So here I am an Apache server because I have accessed the second container. Second container means second pod, that test pod 2, and test pod 2 IP this. Okay, but I will ping from, okay, going on that image, so it will be more good, it will more clear for you. Actually I have accessed this pod test pod 2 and container C03 which is running on HTTPD Apache server. So what I will do, I will ping from this container to this container IP. I will ping from this container to this container IP, and guess what output should come? What will be the output? Guess, imagine. Because you are an Apache server, you are in access this Apache server container. So if you will connect to this container IP, if output should come nginx, that means it is successfully completed. That means you are able to access this container. So let me show with you. So curl, then what is the IP of this pod? Okay, so test pod 1 IP. Now you have got understand why I copied these IPs. So copy this IP, test pod 1. Remember again I'm telling you, I am on this pod, not this one, okay, but I will ping this pod IP. Okay, curl that IP and 80. You can see welcome to nginx, but you are on the Apache, but you can see output is welcome to nginx because communication is stabilized between both containers using a IP of different pod. Okay, similar way I will show you now from nginx container. So let me exit this, control L, and cube test pod 1. Okay, test pod 1 container is C002. Yes, so similar way curl, that time I copied this IP, but now I will use this IP. So let me again and again share with you. Now I have accessed this container. Now I have accessed this container which is running on test pod 1 and will connect to this container using IP of this pod. So what will be the output? Yes, imagine, because you have accessed the nginx container. So if it will show it works, that means you have accessed that Apache server from this container. So curl, so I use IP of this pod. going on live. Okay, and 80. Friends, you can see you are an nginx container, but output while I trying when you connected to curl using the curl command IP then 80, it's showing it works. Means now connection communication between both containers have been successfully stabilized. We are able to communicate from both containers to each other using the IP of using the IP of different ports. So guys, this is our agenda which I have shared with you, and hopefully it is clear for you. You have got understanding, and I also share this manifest file command in our video. Thank you so much and good night.